I'm Ray.
I'm Candace.
And welcome to Unpacking Coffee. This week,
Intelligentsia. 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 So, founded
by Doug Zell and Emily Mange in 1995 in Chicago.
Making them 21. So we headed up to the Marzocco space in Seattle and chatted with Marcus Bonney right before their 21st anniversary party.
I'm Marcus Bonney. I'm the Vice President of Retail at Intelligentsia Coffee. I have a good history inside of the company. I've had a relationship with Intelli since 2001. Left for a while, worked for the SCAA, worked for Espresso Supply in Bonavita and another roaster. So but I've seen it through its major growth period and development and things like that.
Marcus talked about going into neighborhoods and creating a space that matches the neighborhood. And so their coffee shops aren't necessarily super branded with Intelligentsia, and so the bags in the shop end up being the strongest piece of branding.
We've pushed some boundaries from a packaging, processing. Typically, you crafted your packaging so that it could certainly sit on the shelves in your retail store and give informative information about the coffee, about processing methods, elevation of where it was grown, how to brew, a little bit about the company, taking all of that and just putting it onto a bag that could sit up well on a shelf, that could be used in multiple environments, whether it's in your store, whether it's your grocery store, kind of making all of that work and then pushing it from a design perspective too. I think that we've taken an approach to maybe pushing it a little more on how we want it to look, particularly in regard to Intelligentsia. In our cafes and in our coffee bars, you don't see a lot of branding. What our branding is, it exists in our coffee bags and it exists in the areas of where we put our coffee. And so you want that to be as equal to the experience or the brand experience that you're trying to promote. And so the bags have come to where they can really sit up on their own. There's no real kind of reinforcement that needs to come from the back to push it forward or make sure that it can stand up. It has these edges on it where it can kind of just sit there by itself too. And then there you can take it and apply that coffee or apply that bag into multiple environments, whether it is on your shelf or like here, for example, where it's right there by the POS station. Now it can sit there on its own. It can stand for itself and be the brand presence that you look for.
Sometimes they have these special coffees that come out and they get to be a little bit more playful with the bags.
They even apparently do tea.
I think one thing that's interesting is that we've intentionally taken our tea and our coffee into different brand directions. We've broken out kilogram tea and really focused on they're different preparation methods for sure, and they're different. You handle things very, very differently, and the efforts in each process is much different.
Every box is a different color palette, and so the flavors really stand out. Okay, so something that's interesting about Intelligentsia is that they've been around for 21 years. Marcus was talking a bit about finding careers in coffee. So there are people at Intelligentsia or other places that are having long careers in coffee, and sort of that idea of a lot of times when a company is new, everyone's starting at the barista level, and then as you grow.
And how can I see my path with where I am today? Maybe that entry point is via a barista role, or maybe that entry point is working in a production capacity in some type of roaster organization. Or maybe it's in another business that isn't quite considered specialty, but how do they make that kind of grow with inside of where they are today? And really showing them the important kind of points in my life, and hopefully being able to kind of give them a good sense of how they're able to establish a career and really commit to organizations and commit to development themselves in a larger, diverse perspective, not just always this is my path as a barista. I go from barista to a trainer of sorts to wherever that might take you, showing them the multiple disciplines and opportunities that exist inside of this world of specialty coffee.
Intelligentsia Coffee Roasters of Chicago, Illinois.
Oh yeah.
This is getting hard.